My name is Abigail, and I'm 32 years old. Picture this. I'm in a sleek Seattle boardroom leading a meeting for my $500 million tech company, feeling unstoppable. Years of sweat and dreams built this empire. Then, the door flies open. My ex-husband's new wife Miranda storms in, her voice sharp as glass. "We want our share of your company." My heart skips, but I stay calm. What gave her the nerve? A promise I made long ago holds the answer. Have you ever faced a bold betrayal? Like and subscribe to hear how I fought back. Where are you watching from? Let me know below. 5 years ago, I was 27, living in a cramped Seattle apartment with Nathan, my husband. We were a team or so, I thought, pouring our hearts into a tech startup. I coded late into the night, building our first app from scratch, while Nathan charmed clients with his easy smile. Our dream was big, a company that could change lives. The apartment smelled of instant coffee and ambition. My sister Hannah would visit her accountant's frown deepening as she sifted through our bills. "Nathan's spending too much," she'd say, pointing to receipts for fancy dinners I never ate. I brushed it off. He was networking, right? But then I started noticing things. In meetings, Nathan would talk over me, pitching my ideas as his own. "Great call, babe," he'd say later, but it stung. I'd spent weeks perfecting those algorithms. One evening, I found him on the phone laughing with someone about big moves. When I asked, he shrugged. "Just business." "Abby." My gut twisted, but I trusted him. Hannah wasn't so sure. One rainy afternoon, she showed up with a printout of an email she'd found on Nathan's open laptop. It was to some investor I'd never heard of, promising to streamline the company by cutting me out if the app took off. My hands shook as I read it. "He's planning to betray you," Hannah said, her voice soft but firm. I wanted to scream that she was wrong, that Nathan loved me. Instead, I stuffed the email in a drawer, telling myself it was a misunderstanding. That night, I cooked Nathan's favorite spaghetti with marinara, hoping to talk. He came home late, tie-loosened eyes distracted. "What's this about an investor?" I asked, keeping my tone light. He froze, then laughed. "Hannah's paranoid. It's just a pitch to get funding." His words were smooth, but his glance at the drawer where I'd hidden the email made my stomach drop. I wanted to believe him. I needed to. Over the next few weeks, Nathan grew bolder. He'd leave meetings early, saying he had contacts to meet. I'd find new charges on our account, a leather jacket, a watch I never saw him wear. Hannah kept pushing. "Get a lawyer, Abby. Protect yourself." But I couldn't. Admitting she was right meant admitting my marriage was a lie. I'd lie awake listening to Nathan's steady breathing, wondering when I'd stopped recognizing him. One morning, I found a contract on our kitchen table buried under takeout menus. It was with that same investor signing away half our company's future profits. Nathan's signature was scrawled at the bottom, dated a month ago. My name wasn't even mentioned. I stood there, coffee mug burning my hands, as the truth sank in. He'd gone behind my back, risking everything we'd built. My dream, my code, my late nights, all of it dangling on his whim. I confronted him that evening. "How could you sign this without me?" My voice cracked, betraying the calm I'd rehearsed. Nathan leaned back in his chair, unfazed. "It's for us. Abby, you're too cautious. We need to scale fast." His eyes didn't meet mine. I felt like I was drowning, grasping for the man I'd married. "This is our company," I said. "Not yours to gamble." He stood, grabbing his coat. "You're overreacting. I'll handle it." The door slammed, leaving me alone with the contract and a sinking realization. Hannah's warnings echoed in my head, but I still couldn't let go. I loved him. I loved our dream. Maybe he'd see reason. Maybe I could fix this. But as I sat there staring at the signature that felt like a knife, a quiet fear took root. What else was he hiding? The next morning, I woke to an empty bed. Nathan's pillow cold. My eyes stung from crying, but I dragged myself to the office, hoping work would ground me. Our startup's tiny space buzzed with coders, but I felt like a ghost. I kept replaying Nathan's dismissal, his careless shrug. By noon, I was staring at my laptop, unable to focus, when Hannah texted, "Meet me for lunch. Now." Her tone left no room for argument. I grabbed my coat, dreading another lecture. At the diner, Hannah slid a coffee toward me, her face tight. "I found something else," she said, pulling out her phone. It was a bank statement one Nathan hadn't shared. Thousands drained from our joint account funneled to a name I didn't recognize, Miranda Coleman. My throat tightened. "Who is she?" I asked, voice barely a whisper. Hannah hesitated. "She's a marketing consultant. Nathan's been meeting her for months." I gripped the mug, the heat biting my palms. Marketing consultant Nathan had never mentioned her. My mind raced, piecing together his late nights, the vague excuses. Hannah reached for my hand, but I pulled back. "Don't shut me out, Abby," she said. "You need to face this." I wanted to snap to tell her I could handle it, but the numbers on her phone screamed louder than my pride. Back home, I dug through Nathan's desk, heart pounding. In a folder labeled "Expenses," I found a receipt from a jewelry store. A necklace, $2,000, purchased 3 months ago. My breath caught. Nathan had told me my mother's necklace, the one she wore every day before she passed, was lost during a move. I'd cried for weeks, blaming myself for not keeping it safe. But here was proof he'd bought something else, something extravagant, while lying about my heirloom. I called him, my hand shaking. "Where's my mother's necklace?" I demanded when he picked up. Silence. Then Abby, calm down. "I told you it's gone." His voice was too smooth, like he'd rehearsed it. "Don't lie to me," I said, my voice rising. "Who's Miranda? Why are you spending our money on her?" He sighed, annoyed. "You're paranoid. She's just helping with the business." "I'm at a meeting. We'll talk later." He hung up. I stood frozen, the phone still in my hand. The apartment felt suffocating, every corner holding memories of us planning, laughing, dreaming. I sank to the floor, clutching the receipt. Hannah's words echoed, "Protect yourself." But how a lawyer meant admitting defeat, tearing apart the life I'd built with Nathan. I wasn't ready. Not yet. That evening, I waited for him, the receipt on the table like evidence in a trial. When he walked in, he looked tired. His charm faded. "What's this?" he asked, eyeing the paper. "You tell me," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. He glanced at it, then met my eyes. "It's a gift for a client." "You're blowing this out of proportion." I searched his face for the man who'd promised me forever. "Nathan," I said, softer now, "if you're in trouble, tell me. We can fix it together." For a moment, his mask slipped, and I saw something: guilt, maybe fear. But then he straightened. "I'm fine, Abby. You need to trust me." He walked to the bedroom, shutting the door. I didn't sleep that night. The receipt stayed on the table, a silent accusation. Trust him I wanted to desperately, but the pieces didn't fit. Miranda's name burned in my mind, a shadow I couldn't ignore. Hannah's offer of a lawyer lingered, but I pushed it away. Instead, I made a choice: I'd give Nathan one last chance to come clean. I'd confront him again, lay everything bare. But as I stared at the ceiling, a colder truth settled in. If he was lying about this, what else had he done? What else was coming? 2 years later, my world was unrecognizable. Our company had skyrocketed to $100 million valuation, but the higher we climbed, the further Nathan slipped away. I was 29, burning out in our new downtown office debugging code, while Nathan partied with his so-called business partner Miranda. The staff whispered about his flashy suits and her loud laugh echoing through the halls. I buried myself in work pretending I didn't notice, but every late-night email I sent alone chipped away at my denial. Marcus, my CTO, became my anchor. He was steady with a dry humor that cut through the chaos. One morning, he knocked on my office door, his face grim. "Abby, we need to talk." He slid a folder across my desk, filled with financial records. Pages of transactions, all tied to Nathan funneling company funds to a private account. My stomach lurched. "How much?" I asked, voice tight. "$500,000, he said. "And it's linked to Miranda." I stared at the numbers, my pulse hammering. $500,000. Money I'd earned coding through sleepless nights while Nathan played king. Marcus leaned forward. "There's more. I found emails. They're pitching our app's source code to a rival firm." My breath caught. Our app, my life's work, was being dangled like a cheap trinket. I wanted to scream, to confront Nathan right then, but Marcus stopped me. "We need proof, Abby. Let's set a trap." That evening, I sat in our loft, the city skyline mocking me through the windows. Nathan stumbled in, reeking of whiskey, his tie undone. "Big night?" I asked, keeping my voice even. He grinned, oblivious. "Just sealing deals, babe." I forced a smile, my hands clenching. "With Miranda?" His grin faltered, but he recovered fast. "She's got connections. You'd like her if you gave her a chance." I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. Like her, she was stealing my company, my husband, my life. The next day, Marcus rigged a discreet camera in the conference room. I felt sick watching the feed on my laptop, but I couldn't look away. Nathan and Miranda sat close, her hand on his arm, laughing as they discussed selling our tech. "Abby's too soft," Nathan said, his voice cold. "She'll never suspect." Miranda smirked. "Good. We'll cash out and start fresh." My chest tightened, tears burning my eyes. This wasn't just betrayal. It was a calculated gutting of everything I'd built. I called Hannah, my voice shaking. "You were right." I said the words bitter. She didn't gloat, just listened as I poured out the evidence. "Come stay with me," she urged. "You don't have to face this alone." But I couldn't leave. The company was my lifeline, the one thing I still controlled. I hung up, promising to call later, but I knew I wouldn't. Admitting I needed help felt like admitting I'd failed. By Friday, Nathan crossed a new line. He cornered me in my office, a stack of papers in hand. "Sign these," he said, tossing them on my desk. "It's for tax restructuring. We'll save millions." I scanned the documents, my heart sinking. They'd transfer half the company's shares to him. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked, stalling. He sighed, impatient. "You're busy, Abby. I'm handling it." His eyes were hard, daring me to push back. I didn't sign. Instead, I locked the papers in my drawer, my hands trembling. That night, I stayed late, combing through more records Marcus had flagged. Every click revealed another lie: fake invoices, secret meetings, funds siphoned to Miranda's accounts. My anger boiled, but beneath it, a deeper pain festered. I'd loved Nathan, believed in him, and he'd turned me into a fool. As I shut my laptop, a single question burned: how much more could I take before I broke? The weekend came, and I was a wreck. Sleep was a stranger, my nights spent pacing the loft. The city's hum, a cruel reminder of how alone I felt. Nathan hadn't come home since our fight over the papers. His absence was louder than any argument. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a text, an apology, anything. Nothing came. Instead, I found an invitation to a company gala one I'd planned months ago. Nathan's name was listed as co-host with Miranda as his +1. I went to the gala, my dress feeling like armor I didn't trust. The venue sparkled all chandeliers and champagne, but I was hollow. Employees greeted me, their smiles polite but distant, as if they sensed the storm. Then I saw them, Nathan and Miranda arm in arm, her red dress screaming for attention. She laughed too loudly, her hand lingering on his chest. My stomach twisted, but I forced myself to mingle, nodding at investors like my world wasn't crumbling. Halfway through, Miranda approached, a glass of wine in hand. "Abigail, right?" she said, her voice syrupy. "Nathan's told me so much about you." Her eyes gleamed like she enjoyed my discomfort. I clenched my jaw. "Funny he never mentioned you." She smirked, undeterred. "Oh, we're close. He says you're great with the tech stuff, but business needs a bolder touch." She leaned in, her perfume choking me. "Stick to coding, sweetie. Leave the big moves to us." I wanted to slap her, to scream that this was my company, my dream. Instead, I excused myself, my face burning. In the bathroom, I splashed water on my cheeks, staring at my reflection. The woman looking back was a stranger, her eyes tired, her confidence eroded. How had I let it come to this? I'd built this empire, but Nathan and Miranda were parading it like their own. Back at the gala, I overheard an investor praising Nathan. "Brilliant move bringing Miranda on," he said. "She's got vision." Nathan soaked it up, not once mentioning me. I stood frozen, my glass trembling in my hand. Marcus found me, his voice low. "You okay, Abby?" I shook my head, unable to speak. He guided me to a quiet corner. "I checked the server logs," he whispered. "Nathan's been downloading sensitive files. He's planning something big." My heart sank. This wasn't just betrayal. It was sabotage. Before I could respond, Nathan's voice cut through the crowd. He was on stage, microphone in hand, toasting the company's success. "To new beginnings," he said, raising his glass to Miranda. The room cheered, oblivious to my pain. I felt invisible, erased from my own story. Marcus squeezed my arm. "We'll stop him," he said, but his words felt distant, like a lifeline I couldn't reach. That night, I found a note on my kitchen counter in Nathan's hurried scrawl. "I'm done, Abby. I need space." No explanation, no goodbye. Just those words, cold and final. I sank to the floor, the note crumpling in my fist. Space. He'd already taken everything, my trust, my company, my heart. I called Clara, my lawyer, my voice barely steady. "He's leaving me," I said. She sighed. "And he's filed for divorce. He wants half the company, Abby. We're in for a fight." I hung up my chest tight. The loft was silent, but my mind screamed. Nathan wasn't just walking away, he was trying to bury me. Miranda's taunts, his lies, the gala's cheers, they swirled in my head, a relentless tide. I curled up on the couch, clutching a pillow, my tears soaking the fabric. The company was all I had left, but even that felt like it was slipping through my fingers. As dawn broke, one thought burned: I couldn't let them win. But how much more could I lose before I had nothing left? I'm 32 now, standing at the head of a polished conference table in our Seattle headquarters, my heart steady despite the stakes. The board meeting is intense, investors grilling me on our $500 million valuation. My team's behind me, Marcus nodding as I present our next app. I feel alive, like I've reclaimed something Nathan tried to steal. The glass doors swing open with a bang. Miranda struts in, Nathan trailing her, both dressed like they own the place. "We want our share of this company." Miranda snaps, her voice slicing through the silence. Gasps ripple across the table. My pulse spikes, but I lock eyes with her, refusing to flinch. Nathan stands stiff, avoiding my gaze. The board members shift, confused, some whispering. Marcus tenses beside me, his hand gripping a pen. I see my mother's necklace glinting on Miranda's neck, the one Nathan swore was lost, and a fire ignites in my chest. Excuse me, I say, my tone ice cold but calm. Miranda smirks, tossing a folder onto the table. Nathan built this empire. He deserves half. The folder lands with a thud, papers spilling out. I don't touch it, but I catch the words ownership agreement in bold. My mind races. Built this, I coded every line, bled for every milestone. Nathan's contribution was charm and lies. One board member, Gerald, clears his throat. Abigail, what's this about? His voice is sharp, doubting. I feel the room tilt, their trust in me wavering. Miranda seizes the moment, stepping closer. Nathan's the visionary. Abigail's just the tech girl. Check the documents. He owns 50%. Her confidence is suffocating, like she's rehearsed this ambush. Nathan finally speaks, his voice low. It's only fair, Abby. I put in the work. I want to scream, to tear the folder apart, but I hold steady. My eyes flick to Marcus, who gives a subtle nod, urging me to stay composed. Inside, I'm unraveling. Years of betrayal flash through me. Nathan's secret deals, Miranda's taunts, that note saying he was done. Now this, in front of everyone I've fought to prove myself to. The necklace on her neck feels like a slap, a reminder of every lie I swallowed. These claims are baseless, I say, my voice louder now, cutting through Miranda's sneer. This company is mine. Every algorithm, every patent, every sleepless night. You don't get to walk in and rewrite history. The room goes quiet, all eyes on me. Gerald leans forward, skeptical. We need to see those documents, Abigail. My stomach drops. If they're forged, they're good enough to cause doubt. Miranda's smile widens, sensing weakness. I glance at the folder, my hands itching to grab it, but I don't. Not yet. This meeting is about our future, I say, addressing the board. Not settling personal grudges. We'll handle this legally. Miranda laughs, sharp and cruel. Good luck, sweetie. You're out of your depth. Nathan shifts, uncomfortable, but doesn't stop her. His silence cuts deeper than her words. As Miranda turns to leave, she brushes past me, her perfume stinging my nose. You should have signed those papers, she whispers, just for me. My blood boils, but I don't react. The board's watching, judging. Marcus leans in, murmuring, We've got this, Abby. But do we? The folder sits there, a ticking bomb. If I lose their trust, I lose everything. My company, my legacy, my fight. And Miranda knows it. The boardroom door clicks shut behind Miranda and Nathan, but the air stays heavy like a storm about to break. I'm rooted to the spot, the folder of their forged documents glaring at me from the table. Gerald's voice cuts through. Abigail, we need answers. Now. His tone is a blade, and I feel every pair of eyes drilling into me. My throat tightens, but I can't let them see me crack. Not here, not after everything. I start to speak, to explain the lies, when my phone buzzes loudly on the table. It's a text from an unknown number. Check your email. You'll want to see this. My heart lurches. Against my better judgment, I open my laptop, the board watching in uneasy silence. An email waits, no subject, no sender name. Attached is a video. I hesitate, my finger hovering over the play button. Marcus whispers, Don't, Abby. It's a trap, but I have to know. The video loads, grainy but clear enough. It's Nathan in a dimly lit bar, Miranda beside him, both laughing. The audio crackles, but his words are unmistakable. Abby thinks she's untouchable, he says, sipping a drink. But these papers will ruin her. She'll be out, and we'll cash in. Miranda leans in, giggling. Poor thing. She never saw us coming. The video cuts to a photo of me taken candidly at the office, my face circled in red with replaceable scrawled across it. My breath stops. The boardroom is deathly quiet, the video's echo filling the space. Gerald's face hardens. Is this true, Abigail? He asks. But it's not a question, it's an accusation. I want to scream that it's a setup that Nathan's been stealing from me for years, but my voice is gone. The photo burns into me, my own image weaponized, replaceable. The word claws at my soul, ripping open every doubt I've buried. Another board member, Ellen, speaks up, her voice cold. This looks bad, Abigail. If Nathan has a claim, we could lose investor confidence. Her words land like punches. Lose confidence. I've carried this company on my back through crashes and crises while Nathan partied. Now I'm the liability. Marcus jumps in, his voice sharp. These are lies. Abby's the heart of this company. But his defense feels hollow against the board's growing skepticism. My phone buzzes again. Another email this time, a scanned letter dated 3 years ago. It's Nathan's handwriting addressed to Miranda. Abby's holding us back, it reads. Once we're married, we'll take it all. Married. The word hits like a freight train. I stare at Nathan's signature, the same one I'd traced on our wedding day, now twisted into a vow against me. My hands shake the laptop screen, blurring as tears threaten to spill. Ellen stands gathering her papers. We need a recess. Abigail, you have 24 hours to address this, or we'll vote on leadership changes. Her words are final, a guillotine hovering. The board files out their murmurs like static in my ears. Marcus stays, his face pale. We'll fight this, he says, but I barely hear him. The video, the letter, the photo, they're a public execution of everything I am. I'm alone in the boardroom now, the city skyline mocking me through the windows. My chest feels crushed like I'm drowning on dry land. Nathan and Miranda didn't just betray me. They've stripped me bare, turned my life's work into a spectacle. The letter's words loop in my mind, holding us back. I gave him everything, my love, my trust, my dream, and he's made me the villain. As I stare at the empty chairs, I feel hollow, my strength drained. How do I fight when the world's already decided I've lost? The boardroom's silence lingers like a bruise, but I'm done crumbling. I'm 32, and I've lost too much to let Nathan and Miranda take what's left. My hands still shake from that video, that letter. But as I leave the office, a quiet resolve sparks. I call Clara, my lawyer, from the parking lot, the Seattle drizzle soaking my coat. I'm fighting back. I say, my voice steady for the first time in days. File a countersuit, fraud, theft, whatever sticks. She doesn't hesitate. I'm on it, Abby. By morning, I'm at Clara's office, a small space cluttered with legal books and coffee cups. She spreads out documents, her eyes sharp. Nathan's been siphoning funds for years. We can prove it. She hands me a report detailing his offshore accounts, hundreds of thousands funneled through Miranda's name. My stomach twists, not from shock, but from clarity. This is who he is. I nod. What's next? Clara suggests a private investigator to dig deeper. I agree, and she calls Elise, a woman with a no-nonsense vibe and a knack for finding dirt. Elise arrives within the hour, her leather jacket damp from the rain. Give me a week, she says, scanning Nathan's financials. I'll find where he's hiding the rest. Her confidence is a lifeline. As she leaves, I feel a shift, like I'm finally steering my own ship. Back at the office, I lock myself in my corner suite, the city humming below. I pull out my laptop and start drafting a company-wide email. My fingers hover, the weight of the board's ultimatum pressing down. I can't lose them, not after everything. The email is short but firm. We're conducting a full audit to protect our future. I'm committed to transparency. I hit send, my heart pounding. It's a risk admitting vulnerability, but hiding feels worse. Marcus knocks, his face tense but loyal. The team's rattled, Abby. They saw the news. My countersuit leaked, and headlines are screaming about our corporate drama. I wince, but his next words steady me. They trust you. Just tell them what's happening. I nod, grateful for his faith. We schedule a town hall for tomorrow, a chance to face my employees head on. I'm terrified, but running isn't an option. That evening, I drive to Hannah's house, the first time I've reached out since the gala. She opens the door, her eyes soft with worry. "I'm sorry," I say, my voice cracking. "I should have listened." She pulls me into a hug, and for a moment, I'm not the CEO, just her little sister. Over tea, I tell her everything: the video, the letter, the suit. She listens, then grabs her laptop. "I'm helping," she says, pulling up financial templates. "We'll track every penny Nathan stole." As we work, Elise sends a text. "Found something. Meet me tomorrow." My pulse quickens. Hannah looks at me, her face fierce. "You're not alone anymore, Abby." Her words hit deep, stirring something I'd buried under years of hurt. I'm not just fighting for the company. I'm fighting for myself, for the woman I was before Nathan's lies. As I leave her house, the rain has stopped, and a faint star breaks through the clouds. It's small, but it's enough to keep me moving. The next morning, I meet Elise at a gritty coffee shop across town, the kind with chipped mugs and sticky tables. She slides a thick envelope across to me, her eyes glinting. "Nathan's been sloppy," she says. Inside are bank records, emails, even a letter he wrote to Miranda admitting he never loved her, just needed her to secure the deal. My chest tightens, not from pity, but from the raw ugliness of his greed. "This is enough to bury him," Elise says. I nod, tucking the envelope away, feeling its weight like a weapon. Back at the office, I gather my team in the open-plan lounge, my palms sweaty. Over 100 faces stare back, some nervous, some skeptical. The headlines have shaken them, whispers of layoffs circling. I take a breath, my voice low but clear. "You've seen the news. My ex-husband's trying to take what we've built. I won't lie, it's messy. But this company is us, not him. I'm fighting for you, and I need you with me." I pause, letting it sink in. "Any questions? A junior coder?" Lily raises her hand, voice shaky. "Will we lose our jobs?" The room tenses. I meet her eyes, seeing my younger self in her fear. "No," I say firmly. "I'm here and we're stronger than this." Slowly nods ripple through the crowd. Marcus steps up, outlining our plan to lock down assets. By the end, the air feels lighter, like we're a unit again. Lily lingers, offering a shy smile. "Thanks, Abby. It's small, but it fuels me." Later, I meet Clara at a law firm downtown, the envelope from Elise in my bag. She's already drafting motions, her desk a war zone of legal pads. "This letter's gold," she says, reading Nathan's confession. "It proves intent. We're also freezing his accounts." I feel a surge of control, but it's bittersweet. I built a life with this man, and now I'm dismantling him. Clara notices my hesitation. "You're not the villain here," she says. I nod, but the truth stings. Fighting back doesn't erase the scars. That afternoon, Elise digs up more. Miranda's got a rap sheet: fraud, identity theft, small-time cons. It's leverage, a way to flip her if Nathan's case gets tight. I file it away, my mind already on the next step. At the office, I call a press conference, something I've dreaded. Standing before cameras, I keep it simple. Our company's under attack, but we're fighting back with truth. Stay tuned. The reporters shout questions, but I walk off head high. It's not about them, it's about us. By evening, I'm at a mediation with Nathan, a sterile room with a long table and a court officer. He looks smaller, his suit, wrinkled eyes darting. Clara's beside me, her presence a shield. "Confess," I say, sliding Elise's envelope toward him. "Admit the fraud, and maybe we can settle." His jaw tightens, but he pushes the envelope back. "You're bluffing, Abby." His voice is hollow, like he's trying to convince himself. I lean forward, my gaze unflinching. "Try me." As we leave, Clara murmurs, "He's scared." I nod, but my heart's heavy. This isn't victory, not yet. Back home, I find my mother's necklace in a drawer, reclaimed from evidence after Miranda's stunt. I slip it on the cool metal grounding me. Standing at my window, the city lights blurring below, I make a silent vow, no more running, no more doubting. I'm not the girl Nathan betrayed anymore. I'm the woman who'll end this. My reflection in the glass holds steady, and for the first time, I see her strength. The courtroom smells of polished wood and stale coffee, a sterile stage for the war I've waged. I'm 32, sitting rigid in a gray suit, Clara beside me as the judge flips through our evidence. Nathan's across the room, his face pale, eyes fixed on the table. Miranda's next to him, her usual swagger gone, replaced by a nervous twitch. My countersuit fraud theft conspiracy hangs heavy, every document from Elise's envelope laid bare. I should feel triumphant, but my chest is tight, like I'm holding my breath underwater. The judge calls me to the stand. I walk forward, my heels clicking, every step measured. Under oath, I recount Nathan's schemes, the siphoned funds, the emails plotting to sell my app, the letter where he planned to oust me. My voice is calm, but inside, I'm raw. Each word feels like peeling back my skin, exposing years of trust I poured into a man who saw me as a means to an end. The judge nods her pen, scratching notes, while Nathan shifts his lawyer, whispering frantically. Clara presents the bank records, each transaction a nail in Nathan's defense. Then she plays a recording. Elise uncovered a voicemail Nathan left Miranda promising her a cut if she kept Abby distracted. The courtroom stills, the words echoing. Miranda's face crumples, her eyes darting to Nathan, who won't look at her. I catch her expression, a mix of shock and betrayal, and for a split second, I see myself in her. Used, discarded. But I push the thought away. She chose this. The tide turns when Miranda's lawyer stands, voice clipped. My client wishes to cooperate. Gasps ripple through the room. Miranda's head snaps up, her lips trembling as she leans toward her lawyer, whispering. Nathan's face drains of color. Clara glances at me, her eyes glinting with victory, but I feel no joy. Miranda's testimony spills out, halting at first, then relentless. She admits to forging documents, funneling money, even planting that video to discredit me. Nathan promised me everything, she says, her voice breaking. He said we'd be partners. The judge's gavel pauses, her gaze sharp. You're implicating Mr. Thompson? Miranda nods, tears streaking her makeup. Nathan's lawyer objects, but the damage is done. The room feels smaller, the air thick with the weight of her words. I should feel vindicated, but all I see is Nathan's slumped shoulders, the man I loved reduced to a cornered animal. My throat burns, not with pity, but with the ache of what this cost me. Outside, Hannah waits, her face lighting up as I step into the hall. You did it, she says, pulling me close. Her warmth is a lifeline, but I'm numb. The victory feels hollow, like winning a game where the prize is ashes. Reporters swarm, their questions a blur. Corporate fraud, betrayal, my heroic stand. I mumble something about justice and push through Hannah, shielding me. In the car, she squeezes my hand. You're free now, she says. But am I? The courtroom exposed Nathan, but it exposed me too. Every mistake, every blind spot. Back home, I lock the door and sink onto my couch, the silence deafening. My phone lights up with notifications, articles calling me a trailblazer, others digging into my personal life. My divorce. My failure to see Nathan's lies. The world's watching, judging, and I'm laid bare. I clutch my mother's necklace, its weight steadying me, but my mind won't quiet. Miranda's betrayal of Nathan mirrors his betrayal of me, a cycle of greed and broken promises. As the city hums outside, I sit frozen, caught between relief and a deeper unspoken loss. What's left of me now? The days blur after the trial, each one a tightrope walk between relief and dread. I'm 32 back in my office, but it feels like a foreign land. The judge's ruling came swift. Nathan's claims were void, his accounts frozen, his freedom traded for a cell. Miranda's plea deal spared her jail, but she's a ghost now. Her name toxic. My company's safe, but the victory tastes like dust. I wanted justice, not this hollow ache, this spotlight that burns. The news cycle churns, my face splashed across headlines. Tech queen triumphs, they say, but the comments sting. She should have known, too weak to lead. I scroll, unable to stop each word a needle. At a board meeting, Gerald's eyes soften his voice, almost kind. You've proven yourself, Abigail. But the others' nods are cautious, like they're waiting for me to falter again. I smile, thank them, but inside, I'm fraying. Trust once broken doesn't mend clean. A rival firm smells blood poaching my coders with promises of stability. 2 resignations hit my desk by Wednesday, both citing uncertainty. I call a meeting, my voice firm as I outline our next project, but I see doubt in their eyes. Lily, the junior coder, stays quiet, her usual spark dim. After I find her at her desk, staring at a blank screen. You okay? I ask. She hesitates. I believed in you, Abby, but this mess, it's scary. Her honesty cuts deeper than any headline. Marcus steps up, launching a retention plan, but even he's strained. Over coffee, he admits, I got an offer from a competitor. Almost took it. His loyalty holds, but the confession lands heavy. Why stay? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. He meets my gaze. Because you're worth it. I nod, grateful, but the weight of his choice presses on me. How many others are wavering, waiting for me to prove I'm enough? I push forward, announcing a new app at a press event, dedicating it to my mother. The crowd claps, cameras flash, but I feel exposed, like I'm selling a version of myself I don't recognize. Backstage, a reporter corners me, asking about Nathan. How does it feel to win? I force a smile. It's not about winning, it's about building. She scribbles, unimpressed, and I walk away, my hands clenching. Building. But what am I building on this cracked foundation? That night I visit Nathan in jail, a choice I can't explain. The visiting room is cold, fluorescent lights buzzing. He sits across the glass, his face, gaunt eyes, dull. Why are you here? He asks, voice flat. I study him, searching for the man I married. To understand, I say. He laughs bitter. You won, Abby. What's left to understand? I lean closer, my voice low. Why you thought I'd break? He looks away, silent, and I see it's shame, not remorse. I stand, leaving without another word. At home, I find an old voicemail from my mother, saved on a dusty USB drive. You're tougher than you know, she says, her voice warm. I play it again, tears falling, but they don't cleanse. The world sees a victor, but I see a woman hollowed out, her dreams tainted by betrayal. I sit in the dark, the city's pulse faint outside my mother's words, fading into silence. I've saved my company, but at what cost? The mirror reflects a stranger, and I don't know how to find her. I'm 32, and for the first time in years, I need to breathe. The trial's over, the headlines fading, but I'm still carrying the weight of it all. I pack a bag and drive 3 hours to our family's cabin by Lake Crescent, a place I haven't seen since I was a kid. The road winds through evergreens, the air crisp with autumn. When I pull up, the cabin's weathered wood and sagging porch feel like a hug I didn't know I needed. I'm alone, and that's the point. Inside, it smells of cedar and time dust motes dancing in the slanted light. I drop my bag, and wander my fingers tracing the kitchen table where my mother used to knead dough. The lake glitters outside its surface, still like it's holding secrets. I make coffee, the old percolator hissing, and sit on the porch wrapped in a quilt. The quiet is loud, but it's not oppressive. It's space to think, to feel what I've been running from. I brought a notebook, something I haven't touched since college. My pen moves slowly at first, jotting fragments, the trial's chaos. Nathan's hollow eyes, the board's wary nods. But then it shifts. I write about the girl I was at 27, so sure love and ambition could conquer anything. I write about losing her piece by piece to lies I didn't see. The words hurt, but they're honest, and that feels new. I'm not hiding anymore. Hannah calls, her voice soft through the crackly reception. You okay out there? I smile, picturing her in her cozy Seattle apartment. Getting there, I say. She tells me she's coming tomorrow. No arguments. I don't fight it. For years, I pushed her away, afraid to need anyone. Now I want her here, not to fix me, but to share this quiet. Bring wine, I add, and her laugh warms me more than the quilt. By afternoon, I walk to the lake's edge, the gravel crunching under my boots. The water's cold, lapping at my toes as I skip stones, each one a question I've carried. Why did I stay so long? What did I miss? The stones sink, no answers rising, but the act feels like letting go. I sit on a mossy rock, the wind tugging my hair, and realize I'm not angry anymore. Not at Nathan, not at myself. It's a strange relief, like unclenching a fist. A reporter emails asking for an interview about my comeback. I read it twice, my thumb hovering over reply. The world wants a hero, a tidy story of triumph. But I'm not that. I'm just Abigail figuring out who she is after the storm. I close the email, no response. This moment, this lake, this notebook, they're mine, not theirs. I need to know what I want before I let the world back in. As dusk settles, the sky turns pink, the lake mirroring its glow. I light a fire in the cabin's old hearth, the crackle filling the silence. My notebook lies open, pages filled with truths I'm only starting to understand. I'm not whole, not yet, but I'm here, and that's enough for now. The fire warms my hands, and I breathe slow, letting the stillness hold me. Tomorrow, Hannah will come, and we'll face what's next together. Morning breaks soft over the lake mist, curling off the water like a quiet promise. I'm 32, sipping coffee on the cabin porch, the quilt loose around my shoulders. Hannah arrives by noon, her car crunching gravel, a bottle of Merlot in hand. We don't talk about the trial or Nathan, not yet. Instead, we cook pancakes, the batter splattering, as we laugh over her terrible flipping skills. It's simple this moment, but it feels like stitching a wound I didn't know was open. We walk to the dock, the sun warm on our faces. Hannah kicks off her shoes, dangling her feet in the water. You're different, she says, not looking at me. I sit beside her, the wood rough under my palms. Different how? She shrugs, smiling. Lighter, like you're not carrying him anymore. Her words settle in me, not heavy, just true. I don't answer, but I feel it, a space where anger used to live, now empty. Back inside, I find a wooden box under the couch, its lid carved with my mother's initials. Inside are letters, her handwriting looping across yellowed pages. One's addressed to me, dated my 10th birthday. Be brave, Abby, it reads, even when it's hard to see the way. I read it aloud to Hannah, my voice catching. She rests her head on my shoulder, and we sit there, the past and present tangling gently. I don't cry. I don't need to. The letter's enough. By afternoon, I'm back at the notebook, but now I'm sketching nothing fancy, just lines and shapes like my mother used to do. It's clumsy, but it feels right, like I'm speaking to her across time. Hannah naps on the couch, the fire low, and I realize I'm not afraid of being alone anymore. The company, the headlines, the fight, they'll wait. This right now is where I'm whole. Marcus texts asking about a TEDx talk I'd been offered months ago. "You'd kill it," he writes. I stare at the message, my thumb hovering. The idea of standing on a stage, my story laid bare, makes my stomach twist. But then I think of Lily, the coder who trusted me, and others like her maybe watching, maybe needing to hear, they're not alone. I reply, "Let's do it." It's not about glory. It's about giving back what I've learned. Evening falls, and Hannah and I sit by the lake, wine glasses in hand. The stars are sharp, the kind you only see far from the city. We talk about small things, her new job, my next app, the way the lake smells like childhood. But then she asks, "What's next for you, Abby?" I swirl my wine. The answer forming slow. "I want to build again," I say. Not to prove anything, just because I can. As we head inside, I pause at the door, looking back at the water. The moonlight catches its surface, a silver thread stretching to the horizon. I don't need to fix everything or know every answer. I'm enough right here with my sister's laugh in my ears and my mother's words in my pocket. I close the door softly, the cabin's warmth wrapping around me, and for the first time, I feel like I'm home. I'm 32, standing backstage at the Seattle TEDx event, my palms, damp heart, steady but quick. The auditorium hums beyond the curtain, a sea of faces waiting for my story. I adjust my blazer, the weight of my mother's necklace cool against my collarbone. It's been months since the trial, the headlines, the chaos. I've rebuilt not the company that's thriving, but myself, piece by quiet piece. Tonight's not about proving anything. It's about sharing what I've carried, hoping it reaches someone who needs it. The stage manager nods, and I step into the light, the spotlight warm on my face. "My name's Abigail." I begin, my voice soft but clear. 5 years ago, I thought love and ambition could build an empire. Then betrayal tore it down. I pause, letting the words settle. I tell them about the startup, the late nights, coding the dream I thought was ours. I don't shy away from the pain, Nathan's lies, Miranda's ambush, the boardroom where I almost lost everything. But I linger on the after the lake. Hannah's laugh, the notebook where I found my voice again. The audience leans in, some nodding, others wiping their eyes. I'm not here to dazzle. I'm here to be honest. I didn't win because I was stronger, I say. I won because I kept going even when I didn't know how. I share the small things that saved me. Morning runs along the waterfront, their rhythm grounding me. Coffee with Marcus, his steady friendship, a quiet anchor. Mentoring Lily, seeing her grow, and realizing I could give without losing myself. Offstage, Hannah and Marcus watch, their presence a comfort I don't take for granted. I talk about the company's new scholarship for women in tech named for my mother. It's not about fixing the past, I say. It's about planting something that outlives it. The crowd claps a warm wave, but I'm not chasing their approval. I'm chasing the truth, and it feels like enough. After I slip out to the lobby, the buzz of voices fading as I find a quiet corner. My phone lights up with messages. Lily, watching online, says she's inspired. Strangers share their own stories of betrayal and resilience. I read each one, my chest tight, with something like gratitude. I'm not alone, and neither are they. This, I realize, is what healing looks like, not a finish line, but a shared road. Back home, I sit at my kitchen table, a candle flickering its glow soft against the dark. I've started painting again, simple watercolors, nothing grand, just colors that feel like mine. The apartment's different now, filled with plants I water each morning. They're green, a small promise of growth. I don't check the news anymore. The world's noise can wait. I'm learning to listen to myself, to the woman I'm becoming, one who knows her worth without needing to prove it. I sip tea, the steam curling upward, and let the day settle. The TEDx talk was a milestone, but it's not the end. It's a beginning, a step into a life I'm building on my terms. The past is still there, a shadow that lingers, but it doesn't own me. I set the mug down, my hands steady, and breathe slow, ready for whatever comes next. The next morning, I wake early, the Seattle dawn painting my bedroom in soft grays. I'm 32, and the quiet feels like a gift, not a void. I slip on running shoes and jog to a nearby park, the air sharp with dew. The path winds past dogwood trees, their blooms fading, but still stubborn. I don't time my run or chase a goal. I just move my breath steady, my body answering only to me. This is new, this freedom to exist without proving anything. At the office, I meet Lily for our weekly mentorship session. She's 22, all fire, and questions her code improving with every project. Today, she shows me a new app concept, her eyes bright. "You inspired this," she says, almost shy. I smile, warmth spreading through me. I'm not her savior, just a guide, and that's enough. Helping her grow doesn't shrink me. It expands me like sunlight on a field I didn't know I had. Later, I visit a community garden I've joined. My hands sinking into soil as I plant lavender. The other gardeners, strangers turned friends, chat about small things, recipes, rainy days, life. I listen, my trowel steady, and realize I'm part of something ordinary, something real. The lavender's scent clings to my fingers, a reminder that growth doesn't shout. It just happens slow and sure if you let it. In the evening, I open my laptop not for work, but to write. Not a notebook this time, but a letter to myself, one I might read years from now. You survived, I write, not because you were unbreakable, but because you learned to bend. I pause, the cursor blinking. The words feel true, not grand, just mine. I don't need Nathan's regret or the world's applause. I need this, my own voice, clear at last. The lesson comes to me then, not in a flash, but in a quiet unfolding. Healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about carrying it differently with hands that know their strength. I spent years chasing love success, a version of myself I thought I owed the world. But the real victory is this, choosing myself not out of anger, but out of grace. It's a gift I give myself daily in every step, every choice to keep going. I think of the women who'll hear my story, maybe sitting alone, maybe doubting their worth. I want them to know they're enough, not because they win every fight, but because they dare to rise. My pain taught me that strength isn't loud. It's the quiet resolve to build again, to trust again, to love who you are when no one's watching. I close my laptop, the room dim, a single lamp casting shadows. The city hums outside, but I'm at peace, rooted in a life I've chosen, not one I was handed. The scars are there, but they're part of me, not all of me. I lean back, my breath slow, and feel the weight of the journey settle, not heavy, but whole. What moment made you realize your own strength? Share it below. I'd love to hear your story. If this resonated, please subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Thank you for listening, for being here. Here's to healing, to rising to you.